Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, brought to you by Worth Wealth Management. We're talking about something fun today. This is going to be a fun show because we're talking about a cool bike race that got started and now is just not out of control, but it's crazy fun. Our guest is Melissa Dixon, and she's director of the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I think I'd have to say this, right? She's setting in for Kay Worth, who was really the person behind the Tour de Capellan bike ride, which means Tour of the Chapels. Melissa, thank you, and welcome to our program.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
So how did you get involved with Tour of Capellan?
Well, our office caters to any and all groups. We want to be sure if it's a meeting, a convention, a bike ride, that our visitors have a great time in Hayes and they want to come back. So we support a wide range of events. And this one really is a fun one. The organizers who created and founded this event came to us for support. And we help do the packets for the riders, down to making sure the right bib is in the right bag with the right t-shirt size. We help keep that side organized. And then we're usually down at the park the day of the event as well to help.
Well, the event is coming up on July 11th, so people can still get involved with it at this point if they want to do that. In the big picture view, Tour of the Chapels, I'll say it in the Gary way to say it. Really, we have some beautiful chapels, churches in the area. And this is a way to tour those, but it's done on bikes. Talk about the whole program and what goes on.
Sure. Well, there's a group of friends who ride their bikes together, and they had to come up with a name for themselves so they could host this event. So they are the Hayes area bicyclists. And a few of those are Kay Worth, Kathy Romy, Ron Liker, and some others. And they just had this idea, what if we did this with our friends? The tour of the historic churches of Ellis County. But what if we did it on our bicycles? And so they tried it. They did kind of a trial run. And they said, what if we invited people to do this with us? And so it started, I believe the first year maybe had about 80 riders. And they stop at different churches. You've got the option to do a 30-mile route, 50 miles, 62, 75, or even a 100-mile route.
And those are the real crazy people out there.
Yeah, there's the hardcore ones there, 100. And you stop at these beautiful churches. Each one has their own story. There's people there to give you a little history. There's people there with snacks and drinks and bike repair items to help you make it to the next stop. And there's also symphony performers. Not everybody knows Hayes has their own symphony. All concerts are free, but Kay has a great relationship from her time serving on the symphony with these performers. And so to make it even more special, when you show up at the church, there may be somebody playing violin or harp, or there may be a quartet. And it just makes it a really special experience, unlike any other. And the feedback we get from these riders is like, this is the favorite race I've ever done.
Well, it's continued to grow because part of it is the ride. You have some beautiful country that you ride through when you're going the route, because you stop at Catherine, Victoria, Piper, Munger, and it's just a great route that people can participate in. And the churches add that, I'll say, almost a special mystique to the whole thing, because these churches were built by our ancestors out here, and they're just marvelous churches. I also think, isn't the Fort Hays State Music Department involved?
There are, because some of them play in our symphony as well. Yep, so you'll see some of them there.
Okay, so my big question, are you riding or are you playing in the symphony?
This is a sad story. I will be ending my time with the Convention and Visitors Bureau right around that time. So I'll be handing it off to a brand new director. Um, Trial by fire.
Yeah, trial by fire, jump right in the middle of this whole
Yeah.
thing. But you've been a part of every one of these going forward, correct? Have you ever
Yes.
ridden? Have you ever
It's so
ridden in the
fun.
race?
No, I have not. I've always been helping pass out T-shirts or helping people register on site or even serving the meal, things like that. But it's really fun to be down at the park and welcome the riders back, no matter what route they've been on. And it's really fun to welcome and check them in, and join them for lunch at the end.
So, what do you hear from the churches? Because they have to open their doors. They don't have to, but I think they want to open their doors because it's a way to show off each one of their churches. And in so many ways, it's the same. It's a Catholic church, but in other ways, they all have their special features about them.
They do. Everyone, they love to share their stories because they're all so different. Maybe one of them will tell you what country their organ came from, or how their stained glass windows came to be, or when the church was formed, how many families brought wagons full of stone to create this church. So they all have great histories to share. And we love to let them share that, give them an opportunity to do that.
Well, I had a chance to ride in it one year and still have the shirt. So I have the shirt.
Good.
But it is a gorgeous ride and some good hills involved. You think Kansas is flat till you start going up a couple of big hills, especially that one coming out of Pfeiffer up that hill, coming back. That's a real hill. And
Yeah, it
so you
is.
see that happening along the way. But if you're not a bicyclist, how else can you participate in this? Because it's a great day. It's a great German day, in fact.
To make this event accessible for all, a few years ago, the organizers added a bus tour component to it. So there's a lovely tour bus that will show up after the riders all clear out from the park. And it's $75 for the bus ride, and that includes your T-shirt and your goodie bag and your German lunch at the end, and a lovely tour guide in the form of Jerry Brown, who is just great at telling the stories of the churches while you're en route. So that there's still spots on the bus. It is not full just yet, so people can still sign up for that.
If you haven't read some of Jerry Brown's stuff, it's the history is just pretty darn cool
He's
that
so
he
good at
has.
what he does.
You may want to go a second ride on the bus just to hear all of his stories from right
Yes.
there. So there's some food involved. There's German food. What's taking place there?
Well, each year we rotate with which church gets the bulk of the fundraising, and that church prepares the meal. We've had brats grilled on site. We've had beer rocks. We've had beans and noodles and dumplings. So that authentic home cooked German church lady meal or church gentleman.
I love it. All of
Um,
that is so good.
it's it's a hearty meal at the end, and the riders come in hungry, and then there's tables and tables of desserts also prepared by the churches to partake in. Um, but I believe last year Tour de Capellen had donated over $85,000 in proceeds over the years to those churches of Ellis County for whatever they needed those funds for.
Well, that's the special part of it. Not only do you get to ride, but the donations for Tour de Capellen allows churches to do things with their money and helps them be able to grow in the same way. Volunteers, because everybody plays a role in this, or there's so many volunteers. There may be as many volunteers as there are riders. I think
There
at
are
this
a
point,
lot.
there's a lot of volunteers. I know there's already 200 riders showed up or showing up or
Mhm.
registered. There may be more by the time we get to that. And maybe you're sitting out there listening, going, boy, I'm going to polish up my bike here and get out and go ride in this thing because it sounds like fun. But do you still need volunteers?
Yes. Um,
Yes, that's a
volunteers.
big yes, huh? Yeah.
Yes, we will take your help. Um, there is a good amount of setup on the front end from putting out signs for the route to help people, make sure you make this turn. There's that element of it. There's serving at each of the SAG stops. SAG stands for support and gear. So they'll take your help at each of those stops, and then set up at the park, clean up and tear down at the park. All those things we take volunteer help on. Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here, Melissa. Come back and we'll talk
Okay.
about the website. There's a Facebook page. There's all sorts of that fun stuff that people can get excited about. July 11th is the date. Think about that as we take a break. We'll be back with more after this on Forward Ever.
Since 1776, the United States of America continues to stand tall. It's been tested before, many times. Through grit and the ability to move forward, we create better tomorrows. We help our clients live their best lives to and through retirement. We make it easier. Thank you, Kansas. Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Welcome back to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. The program's brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, where they enhance lives and strengthen families. Right now, Melissa Dixon is our guest. We covered what goes on in the Tour de Capellan, which is a tour of the chapels in Ellis County. It's not only a beautiful ride, but beautiful music and some wonderful food that goes along with it. Melissa, somebody's saying, boy, this is July 11th. I want to find out more. I want to participate. Maybe just go watch the riders take off or go down and participate with food. How do they find out more?
The best place where you can register and find out all the information and see a ton of fun photos is on the website, which is at www.tourdecapellan. Tour is just like it sounds. D is D-I-E, and Capellan, Kapellen. Or you can always just look for Hays, Kansas tour of Chapel's bike ride, and Google should point you in the right direction.
It should get there. If you get somewhere else, you're not at the right spot.
Right.
But yeah, if you want to do that. But what a great place to go. You'll learn how to do all those different things if you want to sign up there and be a part of it. Or I suppose you can also call your office at the CVB and say, hey, how do I find out more about this? Or I have some people who'd like to help, take your kids down and let them see what goes on.
Absolutely. And
can
if
you
you're
get in your own car instead of riding and go to these churches, or is that discouraged because you have so many bikes out on the road?
It is discouraged to add any additional traffic that day. We would prefer you jump on the bus, and you're going to get a better tour and better stories that way as well. If you're not an experienced bike rider and you maybe just want a little taste, there is a casual 15-mile ride, which stays close to town. It has its own escort. Everybody stays together. So that's a good kind of starter ride, maybe for kids and families to try out. And then if you just want to come for lunch, you can just buy a lunch ticket and accompany your riders when they get back.
Boy, that sounds like there's options for everybody. So
Absolutely.
That sounds great. Thanks for jumping in. Kay Worth, her excuse was that she's had to get on an airplane this morning. And so she delegated it to you to talk about. But Kay has done a great job of building this program with the rest of the team on the Hays Bicyclists. They've done a great job of being able to put this together.
They've had some wonderful sponsors help them really grow it. And it's really professional when you get there. It's organized. There's a great blow-up archway to show the start line. And what I really like about it is it's not a race. There's no rush. It's a ride. So you can take your time. You can enjoy. You can hang out at those churches, visit with the people there and hear those stories. So, yeah, there's no rush.
And once you get the shirt, you can wear it around in pride, whether it's been 10 years or whatever. You still have the T-shirt right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's Gary. Melissa, before we leave the program here, want to say congratulations and thanks for your work at the CVB, Convention and Visitors Bureau, because you've done a great job of leadership there. who are your mentors? I always like to ask, who are your mentors as far
Oh my
as getting into the program? Because this is about leadership, and there's easy times and there's tough times. Whatever business or program you're in, there are times you have to go through tough times, but sometimes you rely on mentorship. And what would this person do? Who are yours?
I would say mentors and partners include all our other city department heads. What a great group of folks to work with. Dependable, responsible, from police chief, fire chief, city manager. I've learned so much from them about the city side of things. And then tourism, we're so well connected with Kansas Tourism and the resources we get from them. Bridget Job, the leader of Kansas Tourism over at Department of Commerce. What an inspiration with what they're doing at the state level. And then partners here, Chamber of Commerce is a great partner to us. Grow Hayes is a great partner to us, and the university as well. So many cool things we work on together.
Well, thank you for your leadership in
Thank
the
you.
Convention and Visitors Bureau, because it's been one of those things that it's fun to see that happen. When you see summertime, it doesn't take too much to look around, see where the tags of the cars are from.
Sure.
And they're from all over the country.
That's
And
right.
and sometimes I think those of us who say, boy, this it's when you're waiting at especially the roundabouts for people that don't quite know where to go and they have a tag from Louisiana, there's that frustration. Be gentle, be kind out there, because
That's
these are
right.
visitors to our community. And they sometimes stop and go to things like the Tour de Capellan bike ride. But they're not quite used to it. We're not going to take the bikes through the circles, are we? The roundabouts?
No, nope, we won't
No.
do
No.
that.
That'd be fun, though. That would be fun. So, thank you for being on the program with us today. Thanks for all you've done with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I hope somebody out there takes a look and says, hey, I want to go participate in this ride. You see the great chapels from around our county, and it's worth doing that. And if you can do it on a bike, then you see the great countryside as well. Sign up, go online. Tour de Capellan is the website. Go there, go Google bike ride Hayes, Kansas, and you'll probably get there pretty close as well.
Yeah.
Melissa, thanks for being here.
Thanks for the opportunity, Gary.
All right. Thanks to you for listening. Forward Ever, leading in challenging times. It's brought to you by Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families. I'm Gary Shorman.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.